Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to At America. At America is the U.S. Embassy American Center, where our mission is to provide space for young Indonesians to explore, experience, and express American culture through our diverse program and facilities. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Farah Shiba as the MCs for today's talk. Allow me to extend my warmest greetings to our distinguished guests and distinguished speakers for today. Once again, welcome to At America. And the focus of the special talk today is Women in Finance Closing the Leadership Gap. Before we dive into the empowering conversation, we have a trivia quiz for you. And the question is it true or false that based on an IMF study, the presence of women in leadership positions in financial institutions is not associated with greater financial resilience? Submit your correct answer through our social media platform. And for those of you who answer correctly and quickly, will get a shout out from us at the end of the event. Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome Resident Country Director from Millennium Challenge Corporation or MCC, Jenner Edelman.
Thank you, Farah. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Salamat sore dan salamat datang, Ibu Hera, Ibu Alyssa, Ibu Laxmi, Ibu Novita, Bapak Ibu semuanya. Wow, I've always wanted to do that. I've never been to an event quite like this one. I arrived here in Indonesia just a few months ago as the country director for the new $649 million Indonesia Infrastructure and Finance Compact between the Millennium Challenge Corporation, or MCC, as we call ourselves, and the government of Indonesia. And our program is focused largely on infrastructure and infrastructure finance and access to finance. So at every event I go to, biasanya, when I'm giving my sambutan, it's bapak, 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 bapak. So I've always wanted to say Ibu, Ibu, Ibu. So thank you for this opportunity today. When I look into the audience here today, I see a lot of young faces, which is terrific. And I especially see a lot of young women, so many female leaders, so many women studying finance and aspiring to be leaders in finance themselves, so many wonderful role models for other young women in this country. It's inspiring, and I'm feeling energized being here with you this afternoon. I would like to share just a little bit about MCC here in Indonesia because it's one of our agency's largest programs for women's economic empowerment in our 20-year history. MCC is a U.S. government development agency whose mission is poverty reduction through economic growth. We've been working here in Indonesia on and off now since 2006. In April of this year, your finance minister, Ibu Sri Mulyani, and our U.S. Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, signed our $649 million program. These are both impressive women leaders managing the government budgets of two of the biggest economies in the world. The aim of our program, as I mentioned, is to increase infrastructure here in Indonesia, infrastructure financing, and also access to finance for women-owned small businesses. It focuses in 5 different target provinces, which are Riau, Rio Islands, North Sulawesi, South Sumatra, and Bali. It includes a $136 million project to provide access to finance for women-owned small, or micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, or what we call in English MSMEs. $50 million of this is for low-interest loans for up to 28,000 different women-owned MSMEs over the coming 5 years. As you may know, MSMEs make up 99% of private sector enterprises here in Indonesia, and 64% of them are managed by women. So women make very important economic contributions in this country. But women-owned businesses are concentrated mostly amongst micro-entrepreneurs. They're less likely to increase their sales and to grow, and they face real challenges in accessing credit including family and household obligations like childcare, family expectations and norms, and the lack of proper education and training. We know that financial capacity development for women is critical, which is why our program will provide significant digital and financial literacy, training to women business owners, as well as capacity building on business plan development, how to create financial statements, how to register for a tax ID, and business formalization. We will also work with financial service providers and fintech to address the collateral issue, which prevents women here from accessing formal financial products. So what does that mean? Many women here in Indonesia do not own land or the homes in which they live. So we're working with provincial and regional banks and cooperatives now to identify other forms of collateral. Things like inventory, appliances, crops, maybe vehicles or motorbikes, things that they can use so they can borrow more from the bank and move beyond the micro-enterprise level. Because childcare is also a key constraint for women, we will also support the establishment of women-friendly workplaces with childcare options in areas where we're supporting MSMEs. I'd like to highlight one last activity in MCC's program that might be of interest to you all, and we're launching it later this year. It's an $8 million program to support scholarships, job skills training, apprenticeships, and job placements for women in STEM fields in MCC's target provinces and sectors. So these are for jobs in infrastructure and infrastructure financing with a focus on transport and logistics. Women are now more likely to have a bachelor's degree than men here in Indonesia. That's terrific, but not in STEM fields. For example, in 2019, only 18% of females were working in ICT, construction, mining, manufacturing, and utilities, compared to 28% of men. And even where women do work in STEM industries, they're concentrated in low-skilled, lower-paying jobs. Our program aims to help address this by providing mentoring, job matching, job placements, scholarships, and practical skills through internships. We'll then link the women in our program directly to the employers building infrastructure projects funded by MCC. Our program here in Indonesia presents exciting opportunities to support women's economic empowerment and increase women's participation and leadership in STEM fields and business, including for many of you here in this audience. We would absolutely love the chance to work with you and to share more details soon on how to take advantage of these opportunities. I'd like to close this afternoon by thanking the incredible women leaders in finance here in the front row for joining today's event. It is so important for young women to see other women in leadership roles in finance and to have positive female role models and champions in their field. Ibu-ibu semuanya, sorry guys, no offense Josh, let's work together to support each other and other women in joining the labor force here in Indonesia and contributing to Indonesia's development and economic growth. On behalf of MCC and the US government, US Embassy here in Indonesia, we are here to support you, and we will keep working closely with the government of Indonesia to close the leadership gap for women in finance specifically. Terima kasih banyak sudah datang. Saya senang sekali hadir di sini dengan kalian semua. Semangat dan semoga sukses kita semua.
All right, thank you so much, Ibu Janet Edelman from MCC for the opening remarks given. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite our moderator for today's talk. He is an economic officer from the US Embassy in Jakarta. Everyone, please welcome Pak Joshua Wayland.
Selamat sore dan selamat datang semuanya di America. Saya mau berterima kasih lagi kepada Bu Jenner, pembicara kita terhormat. Thank you very much for sharing with us about your programs. And kepada ibu-ibu, tamu terhormat kita, selamat datang dan terima kasih. Sebelum kita mulai, saya mau menghormati satu orang lain, rekan saya dari bagian ekonomi di Kedubes, Siska Aristiawati is here. Siska, so you know, Siska is really the driving force, not just for this event, but for our whole Women in Finance, Women in Fintech series, which includes events here at America and in other places around Jakarta. So thank you so much, Siska, for all of your hard work in putting this together. And now I'll introduce our first panel. We have to join me on the stage here. We have Bu Hera Harin, Executive Director or Executive Vice President at BCA for Corporate Communication and Social Responsibility. Bu Hera has, please come and have a seat. Bu Hera has a distinguished career in banking, but also in journalism before she started in banking.
I was.
And so we'll look forward to learning about that maybe a little bit when we talk.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you for inviting me. Such an honor. Thank you so much, everyone.
And also we have with us this evening Elisa Kosadi from Pulang. Please give her a round of applause. Give her a warm At America welcome this evening. Before starting at Pulang, Elisa worked for other digital asset companies and as a program manager for AmCham, right? Or as an associate at AmCham, is that correct? Policy advocate at AmCham. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about this very important subject, women leadership in the finance sector. So I want to start out with a question for Bu Hera about the banking sector in particular. Now, I've read recently some data that shows that although the majority of bank employees are women in Indonesia, the vast majority of leadership positions, managers and executives, are men. So I'm hoping you can share with us your opinions about why that is and what specific challenges or obstacles that women face in their careers in the banking sector in particular, or in general, or maybe even in journalism, if you want to share about that as well.
Thank you so much, Josh. So allow me to explain what is happening in BCA at the moment. So if I would like to share the proportion of women in BCA, at the moment we have like more than 30%, 60% of women employees in BCA. And fortunately, we have 60% as well at the executive position in BCA. So in BCA, I think we have a clear and transparent performance. For every year, we have a panel discussion to looking at the performance for each of employees. So whether you are women, men, or what kind of race you are. No, there in BCA, we don't put something to identify how you perform. So we always put a talent as a talent it is, you know. So I think I don't know. I'm lucky. I'm lucky because I'm in BCA and we have a very strong culture and DNA that people can work and can perform regarding based on their skill, their performance. So I think if you ask me about the data that you shared before, I can't answer exactly what is the obstacles. But if I would share the debtors data as well in our financing, we have about 36,000 women debtors. And we also encourage more women debtors as well. And then our customers, we have a very good proportion of women customers in BCA. And we also encourage our program to put something to put some attention for women. For example, last year we have a special rate for women SMEs, women entrepreneur. The rate is very, very low. It's about 3% only. And we were super excited that a lot of women joining our program, and they got special rate, and now they gave the testimonies that how their business doing better now. They can do more than before, and I think we're going to continue that kind of program as well. And in my division, we have a Bhakti BCA. It's kind of like a creating share values program as well. So we have some of Desa Binaan, like assisted villages, like 26 villages in Indonesia from Sumatra to Sulawesi. And then we also have a lot of ibu-ibu that selling their creativity, like some culinary and something like that. So we put their products in our expo. So BCA have twice, two times in a year, like BCA Expo Firstary. So they're really excited to when we give them the market access. So I think we keep continuing doing that. That's what BCA can do as well. And we also have a natural coloring women community in Soe, Nusa Tenggara Timur. So I think the more we do for women to give them the access, not only to scaling up their skill and then give them a market access, I think that's what BCA would do. And I think at least BCA is doing something to decrease the obstacles that you mentioned before.
Wow, thank you very much for sharing all of those programs that BCA is working on. I'm sure, I'm curious, and I'm sure our audience is as well, about how all those got started. Where did the initiative come from to take on these new programs to help increase the participation of women through these projects?
Yeah, of course. Before we do a program, before we launch the program, before we get the approval from the boards, we also do deep research as well. So if you're looking back at the Global Competitiveness Index in 2019, Indonesia at the 50 rank of from 141 countries around the world, and we're looking back deeper than that about the human capital, the skills at the 65th rank, So if we look, the demography of Indonesia, about half is a woman. So I think the problem is not only about the woman, so about the talent of Indonesia itself. And we are looking at the population. Indonesia is the biggest population in Southeast Asia, 4th populous country in the world. But of course, now we are at the upper middle class country. Last year we got a better position because of the income per capita, we got much better. So I think to make it become better, it's not only about the quantity of the population, but of course the quality. So those data, we make it become the baseline of what we're going to do next, So this is our responsibility as well. We're not only doing business in BCA, but we do and we grow together with the society. Because at the end, bank follow the trade. Trade will happen if the market is doing well. How the market is doing well if the people in Indonesia get the better income for them to spend. If you're looking back at, if you look at the GDP of Indonesia, 57% is about spending, so it's household spending as well. So I think, and woman itself has a very fundamental role. Like if you're looking at some of the household, women usually the CFO for the household, of course, yeah. But then the cultural norm in Indonesia, I have no idea which in US is it still happening or not. But in Indonesia, there is the demand that women should be a superwoman. So me, I have to have my path career, but I have to taking care of my house with my assistant at the house. I have to talk to the teacher of my daughters. So I have to do a lot of things. I have to do some of decisions. So it's like a superwoman that, the people ask superwoman for Indonesia. But usually I think regarding to the data, like the global data, the Indonesia data, the income and GDP data. So I think there is a responsibility, there is a togetherness that we would like to do better for better Indonesia. That's why the initiative comes, like it's more into the philosophy itself that we want to see the better market for the future Indonesia. We want to see the better young, especially girls, for better Indonesia for next future, because they're going to be the next future drivers. So I think we would like to make them, they have a better access, to make they better opportunities as well. At least from BCA, we would like to give that quite little things for them they can enjoy and reach their dreams.
Oh, thank you. I want to ask a question of Elisa now about fintech in particular. Now, finance is already a business or an industry that is dominated by men until today, and technology as well. So if you have both finance and technology happening at the same time, it seems to compound the problem. I've read also that although there's a growing number of jobs in the technology field, most of those are still going to men. I think particularly in Indonesia, which has one of the largest, if not the largest, technology workforce gaps in Southeast Asia. I'm wondering if you could comment or give your opinion a little bit about why that is.
Okay, sure. I think first, before I answer question, Joshua, I would like to do a little bit of survey to all the women here in the audience. So please raise your hand if this applies to you. So how many of you here are studying or have studied some kind of STEM major in college? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Around 5 people? Yeah, okay, around 5 people. Okay, sure. Okay, my second question is, how many of you actually worked in STEM-related roles or in a technology company right now? Only for the women. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, also only around 5. Yeah. So I think that kind of answers your question, Joshua. So in general, basically what Indonesia experiencing, I think, is a tech talent deficit. And I think the deficit is very, very apparent, particularly for women, in women. Because I've read this, while looking at this topic, I read the statistics from Global Talent Crunch, where they projected Indonesia to be experiencing a tech talent deficit by 2030. Well, compared to India, they actually are projected to experience a tech talent surplus, I think around 200 million tech talent surplus in the same period. So on top of that, because the employment gap in tech companies between men and women are very big, and I think there are several factors contributing to that. The first one is basically just the lack of interest to pursue STEM, STEM career or education for women. Being women, being a female in the tech industry, most of the time you'll probably be only be the only person in the room, and it can be discouraging. And I think Jenner mentioned in her opening that Indonesia actually has more female college graduates compared to male graduates. But then when you dig deeper, when you dive deeper into each of the majors they're studying, okay, let me see my numbers. So only in Indonesia, there's only 34% of women who graduated from an ICT major, and in engineering, it's even worse. Only 24% of engineering, manufacturing, construction graduates are females. So I think that's one of the factors influencing like all this, all this issue. And then the second one I think would be different work-life balance priorities. I think Buhera, you mentioned a bit about that. Yeah, so tech is a very fast-paced and dynamic industry, and the work, especially in roles like product development or engineering or programming, it can be quite taxing. And for a lot of women, from what I see from all the women around me, who are, especially those who are in their mid-career or are also looking to start a family or like expanding their families, they often ended up being forced to choose between choosing their career or their personal lives. And many of them ended up choosing their personal lives. And even if they ended up, going back into the workforce in their later years, those gap in a very critical time in their career kind of set them back several years compared to their male counterparts. And I know that this is not something that only happened in Indonesia or in the tech industry, but basically in all industries. And actually, there's a lot of studies to prove this. Deloitte actually have a very interesting study about this, where they discovered that nearly 4 out of 10 women feel the need to prioritize their partner's career over their own. And also, despite 88% of the respondents to that study actually work full-time, they still hold the primary responsibilities to do domestic works such as cleaning and also caring for dependents. So I think I want to point out those two factors just to answer your question.
Well, thank you. I do have a follow-up question for you, but since you've both mentioned education now, and so did Jenner in the opening remarks, I want to take the opportunity to highlight one of the U.S. government's programs here in Indonesia called Education USA. Education USA is a program for providing information about opportunities for going to study in the United States. And they have counselors here in Indonesia, including here at America, who are available on weekdays, on weekends, even online through counseling sessions. And I want to encourage anyone in the audience who might be interested in taking advantage of some of those opportunities and coming to the U.S. to study, to stick around after our program this evening and meet some of the Education USA advisors. Something else you both mentioned, and I've heard this every time I speak with women on this topic, is about this question of work-life balance, the expectation to be, as you put it, a superwoman, right? Although women often are pursuing very important, high-powered, and busy careers, there's still often an expectation for them to take on the majority of household or family responsibilities as well. Of course, men also have family responsibilities, but I feel like that is more often a pressure on women. I'm sure everyone in our audience here and watching elsewhere would be interested to hear from both of you about your personal experiences with this. You're both very successful women with successful, demanding careers. How have you been able to navigate this and balance your careers with your family life? Do you have any strategies that you can recommend?
I think Buhera, you probably is more you can probably answer this better because I'm not married. So
Well, when we talk about family responsibilities,
Yeah.
it's not just child rearing also, but caregiving in general for families,
yeah.
for older parents or whomever. I'm sorry. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Should be a good lesson for you later. Welcome to the club once you do that. Okay, Josh, I read an ILO data, an International Labor Organization, that the woman, when they have like under 5 years children, their productivity would be decreased before they get married. But after 5 years of the children, it's going to be even 2 times or 3 times better. And I felt that. Yeah, I felt that, yeah. So when I have toddlers, so I have to be, like quite, my attention would be because it's like a golden age for my children. But after that, they getting, getting more independent, and then I have time for myself, and they can do what they want to do. So I think it's time for me to reaching out to pursuing my dream, my career path even better, because my attention not only for my children like before, but the strategy is just how I can deliver the strategy, because the cultural norm in Indonesia make us or make it like, what is it, stigma, yeah. Stigma, yeah. So you have to do. Oh, and I would like to be proud of it as well, because woman is a multitasking human being. Joe, sorry. We can do a lot of
I
things
agree.
at the same time. I can text my my team, and at the same time I can talk about another things, even like 3 or 5 topics at the same time. Is it, girls? Yes, exactly. Who runs the world? Girls, of course. It's something, sometimes it motivates me as a woman as well. Like, we can do even better with all the respect for my husband, of course, to all the men around the world. But I feel that we can do better, because I can handle my job at office, and then at the same time I can handle my little family at home. So there's a satisfaction. So for girls, if one day you're getting married and you want to pursuing for your path career, just enjoy the time, because the time will be coming. Some gigantic is coming to you, because I just believe in yourself, and then do the best that you can do, learn a lot of things that you can learn. And one thing, find a good partner. Do not let their partner, like killing your dreams. And I'm thank God I have a very good partner in life, because he always encouraged me to do what I want to do, as long as you know exactly what you have to do. So I think the strategy is find a good partner. Elsa, find a good partner, and then enjoy the time that you have, because one day, now my kids is about 12 years old, and sometimes they do not want to go with me. Like today, she goes to cinema with her friends. So I think just enjoy your time, the golden age, the time that you're looking at the video that you're filming with your little one, and now he's already grown up. So I think, but I always encourage her to be independent girl, of course, to not afraid of something that she dreams of. So the strategy just, I think, quite simple. What what I could share today is like, find a good partner in life, and then pursuing your dreams together, and then of course enjoy the time.
Thank you very much. We only have a little bit left in our panel, and I do want to leave plenty of time for audience questions, but one last quick question before we turn to the audience for theirs, and that is just related to the previous one. What other advice do you have for young women who are just starting out their careers or want to start a career in banking or in fintech?
I should start. Okay, sure. So I think I just have one very quick advice. So like if you, all the girls, female, women in here who wants to pursue a career in tech or in STEM related fields, just go for it, and just do it because why not? And if you have the opportunity to kind of join some kind of programming, like to upskill yourself, like a boot camp or like a development program, or attend conferences, or like research some more of the program here at America that Josh mentioned just now. Just do it, because not only you will be able to upskill yourself, but also you'll be able to connect, to network with other people in the field that you're interested in. You'll be able to network with other women who are pursuing the same thing, or maybe you can meet your role model, or the women who have made it in the field that you want to pursue. So that will be very beneficial for your career development in the long run. And also you can actually, by doing those things, you can also learn to how better communicate, like work on your communication skills, like how to build rapport with other people. So yeah, so if you have the opportunity to join those kind of programs, just do it. I think that's all from me.
Yeah, just do it. Cool. Super
Like
cool.
the Nike logo.
Yeah. Well, Josh, for me, to all girls that you're here at the moment, one day I believe that you're going to be someone even much bigger than now. And what I would like to say, if banking sectors, banking industry is the business of trust. So it needs it's all about integrity, business of trust. So you have to be professional, and then I think if we're looking at the data from Deloitte as well, women in finance, only like 21% that going to be board globally, and then 19% that would be the C-suite, and then the last would be like executive. I think regarding this data in finance, especially in banking industry, I think we know exactly, we realize that it's a long way to go, but we are on the right track. We're on the right trajectory, and who's going to move that trajectory, I think, is ourselves. It's you, the girls in here, and of course the understanding of the boys over here to give the same opportunities for us, and looking at any talents regarding to their skill, of course. And so, like also say, just scaling up your skill, learn from anywhere you can learn, because the technology now make it easier for you can learn anything that you want to learn. And I think everyone is a CFO, and the business in banking, of course, is about figures and numbers, and about, not only that, nowadays, banking industry is, of course, about values, the values that we can share with the society as well. So having empathy is also one of the things in banking industry, because it's a service industry. So you're going to face the customers, you're going to face another stakeholders. So just scaling up your skill, and then learn from anywhere you can learn. And if you're interested in numbers or figures, I think you are fit with banking industry. And of course, if one of you, BCA also have a scholarship as well. So if you want to join with us, you can join and visit our website from Bhakti BCA Scholarship. So we would like to find women, and of course men, students from anywhere from around Indonesia. I think that's all, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So we have just over 10 minutes remaining in our first panel to open it up for audience questions. I'd like to start with the audience here in the studio, and And I see we have a hand up there in the back.
Thank you. My name is Victor. I want to ask Mrs. Hera, if I'm not mistaken, you were a journalist or news anchor. I would like to be welcome to be corrected. And who encouraged you to go to your current company right now? Was it your last job not challenging as a journalist, or your partner asked you to apply for your current company? And second, I don't think that our GDP per capita in Indonesia is better than, as you mentioned, in the region compared to Malaysia and Singapore. Thank you.
Okay, so the first question, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's about how the way I moved from broadcasting industry to banking industry. Yeah, at the first time, of course, when I was in broadcasting, because I was a TV journalist before, I got my wholehearted freedom. Of course, I can do whatever I want. That was the first thing that I got in mind when someone asked me to join and move to banking industry. And I'm going to move to highly regulated industry. Can I make it happen? But finally, I think I choose the right company because the environment in BCA is very positive and make me grow even better. And I've been in broadcasting industry for 15 years before, since I was in college. So I think it's time for me. I was like 34 years old at the moment, like 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago. So I think it's time for me, and I was an editor-in-chief at CNBC before. So I think like the top position for, for a journalist. So I think I don't want to be in my comfort zone. I think I want to learn more, and it's about banking industry. And at the moment, I was a business and economy journalist as well. And with Ibu Siska, we have same. We all friends with Ibu Siska in University of Indonesia. So thank you for inviting me. So we have a little reunion here, and I think that makes me that it's not really new for me. Banking industry is quite close with economy and business, so I think it's time for me to move, to improve myself, to challenge myself, to not just stay at the same point, but to set the bar even higher for myself. Can I make it happen? Can I pursuing another kind of industry? Can I conquer that kind of challenges, of course. So I think who's encouraging me is myself, because I think it's time for me to get out from what is called zona nyaman, comfort zone. Yeah, so I need to go out from there, and I'm finally I'm so proud that God given me a chance to move. And the second question is about the upper middle class country, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we are now at the 4,600, about that GDP per capita each year. So it makes our positions getting better for Indonesia. So it's upper middle class. If I'm not mistaken, some of the report projects that Indonesia would be about 10,000 US dollar per capita, like in the next 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully we can reach that. Thank you. Thank you, Mas Richard. Thank you.
Other questions from the audience? I see a hand back here in the middle.
Hello, Bu. I think it was interesting to see how BESA is supporting amazing working women like you, but I'm also curious to know what are some things Indonesia and companies within our country can do better to improve women's support, especially those working in the corporate world? specifically speaking of women who bear the responsibility of being the breadwinners of the family, especially firstborn. I think there's still lack of attention in these areas, and I'm just curious to know from both Ibu Vera and Ibu Alyssa about your opinions on what can Indonesia and other companies do to better break this stigma. Thank you so much.
Yes, okay. Oh, okay. It's a okay. What's your name? Joanna. Hi, Joanna. How old are you? Oh, still young, but not really far away from my age. No, I'm 39. Actually, like 12 years ago. Okay. What a company would do, I think, give a. Yeah, I see the lack is still there, of course. That's why I encourage all of you girls to come to the banking industry, to come to finance industry, and I believe that you can do that. Of course, you have to make yourself ready first, and then come to the workforce, or you being an entrepreneur, or like Lisa goes to technology industry. So just push yourself, to be joining the industry and conquer that. And how the company do what I can do, because at the moment see, our CFO is a female as well, and our human capital director is female as well. So I think, like this, it's a good example. CFO always talks about figures, numbers, and any kind of about the banking planning, banking business planning. But at the same time, the director of human capital, of course, we talk about emotion, how you treat people. It's not easy because people comes first for BCA. So I think it's shown that in banking industry, it's not only about how you do business, but of course how you treat people in a good way as well, because we talk about customer. Because now I'm one of the female bankers, so any kind of program that we would like to develop, I always talk about the gender equality. Even though I ask my team when we do a scholarship program, how many girls, how many boys? Because I think it gives, but I don't want to give a special position or special portion for girls, because I know they can fight it better. I don't want to give a special, a special space for girls, but fortunately, it's more. It's half of the scholarship awardee girls. So it's a the strength is there. So I believe that they can do that, and I'm inviting you girls to come to finance industry and to make the numbers from Deloitte, from the report of Women in Finance, become old stories. So make the history together. Come to the industry. We give you access as well.
We have a question here for both of you that was submitted through Instagram from, I don't know if it was somebody in the room or somebody watching at home, but I think this is a good one. It says, how might having a diverse team, including women, benefit a company? So we've mentioned also that women might bring to the table specific skills that men might not have, or perspectives that men might have. How does having women on the team or a more diverse workforce in general benefit a company like Pluang or BCA? Let's start with Elisa, if that's okay.
Okay, sure. I think I'm gonna answer this from like the tech perspective, like tech industry perspective. I think having women in the on the table or in the room, basically, well, it just added your perspective, because sometimes maybe many of you realize that women and men approach issues differently. Maybe this is a little bit of stereotyping, but women often view a problem more on like. I think women often view a problem more empathetically, while like men often view a problem more from the logical side of things. And depending on the problem, sometimes a more empathetic response is needed, while in other cases, a more logical response is needed. So I think like finding a balance is that, I guess, like having women on the table or in the room would kind of bring the balance together in many situations, especially in the tech industry where a lot of like the work are very technical, but sometimes you probably need a different approach to find a new solution. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Woman is a multitasking human being. I told you before, so being proud of that. I think, and like Elisa said, I think it's correct as well, because it's about how the approach that women would do about things when we have a discussion, or probably if you want to find a better or the best concept. I think having a discussion between women and men is like completing each other. Like I think we are happy to have men and women at the same table. So I think just go to the table.
Wow, thank you. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this first panel session. So everyone, please join me in thanking Elisa and Buhera for their time and their valuable insights this evening. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
We're going to move into our next panel session soon, but we're going to take a break in the meantime and do something a little bit different. We're going to play a quiz, or put a quiz up on the screen, but it's not really a quiz, it's more like a survey. So in order to access this survey, please just take out your phones and scan the QR code shown here on the screen. And then as we get people ready to start, we'll put the questions up here. After you get to the screen, make sure you push the little thumbs up to show you're ready. As we're letting people get in, I'll just mention that these questions are really aimed for the women in the audience. I'm very pleased to see so many men here as well. Well, good on you all for coming out here to learn about this issue and support your female colleagues. But some of these questions may not apply to the men in the audience. Let's go ahead and put the first one up on the screen. Okay, number one, in your opinion, what is the main obstacle to increased women's financial inclusion? So increasing the participation of women, the inclusion of women in the financial sector, like access to loans or credit cards or bank accounts. And we have 4 different options here: discrimination against women, lack of financial education, social pressures, or other. As people are answering here, we do have a couple clear winners. It looks like lack of financial education might take the lead as far as the factor that everyone is identifying as the major obstacle here. All right. It looks like everyone has just about finished voting, so let's move to our next question. What do you think is the most important reason that prevents women from pursuing a career in finance? Why do women not pursue a career in finance? Is it because they are concerned about facing discrimination in the workplace? Or maybe choice B, they feel that they don't have the right skills or education. They are concerned about work-life balance, which was mentioned several times in our panel, or other. And here already I'm seeing a clear winner in terms of the answer here already, that people are concerned, that young women are concerned about work-life balance. And finding that balance between their responsibilities at home and in their career. Let's move to the third question. In your opinion, what do you think is the most important reason preventing women from reaching leadership roles in the finance sector, in banking or fintech? Is it because some managers don't appreciate that women can be leaders in the field? Or is it that family responsibilities are getting in the way of their career advancement? A lack of women role models, something else that was mentioned in our panel earlier, or some other reason? And it looks like family responsibilities, that we're coming back to work-life balance again as a major concern, not only for starting a career, but moving up the career ladder into leadership roles. Let's move on to the next question. All right, what is your biggest concern for pursuing a career in the finance sector? This is one of those that was aimed at the women in the audience, but the men can go ahead and answer too. I'm interested to see what you will say as well. Is it because you're worried you will face discrimination because of your gender, or that you might not have the right skills to pursue a successful career? Concern about finding time for family responsibilities or some other reason? And it looks like the biggest concern that our audience has is worrying about not having the right education or skills to pursue a career in the finance sector. All right, let's move on to our next question. Here we're going to start to talk about what some potential solutions might be. What is the most important thing that companies can do to help develop women leaders in the finance sector? Banks or fintech companies, what can they do to help? In your opinion, is the most important thing training employees on being more inclusive in the workplace? Or is it providing mentoring opportunities and training for women? Holding recruitment events and networking events for students? Or maybe something else? Oh, that's very interesting. I'm seeing that what our audience would really like to see is more training opportunities and mentorship opportunities for young women. All right, let's move on to our final question for the survey. Also focused on potential solutions. We talked about things that you'd like to see companies do. What about from government? What is the most important thing that governments can be doing to help develop women leaders in the finance sector? Is it strictly enforcing the laws that already exist against discrimination? Training companies and other institutions on how to support women in the workplace? Is it providing support for women for education and development, or something else? And it looks like the clear winner is here, providing support for women for education and development. So we're coming back to that issue of education, which is a clear pattern through these questions, I think. Thank you all for participating in this survey. It's really interesting results that we're seeing. Before we move on to our next panel, we do have one other thing to do in the meantime. Unfortunately, one of our panelists, Chrisma, Albajar from the Fintech Association of Indonesia was not able to join us this evening, but she very kindly recorded a video message for you all, and we're going to play that for you now. In this video message, Krisma is going to talk about her experience participating in one of the U.S. Embassy's programs called International Visitor Leadership Program, or IVLP. Krisma was one of those IVLP participants, so let's see her message now.
Hi everyone, my name is Krisma Albanjar. I am the Deputy Treasurer for Indonesian Fintech Association, and I am also the member of Board of Commissioner and advisor for Dana Indonesia, Indonesia Digital Wallet. I am one of the participants that went to the US in the beginning of this year. Our program lasts about 2 weeks. So we started in February 28 and we finished March 9. We went to 2 cities, New York and DC. So the government of the United States government already set us up with both private sector and also public sector so that we can actually learn more and we can also exchange knowledge. So we went there on the topic of innovation and regulation on digital asset and fintech space. So we met with all the key players within the digital finance and also fintech, including digital asset. So we met in the private sector, we met all the big companies such as MasterCard, JP Morgan Chase, and also Citigroup. So we visit their headquarters. We had a long discussion about how financial sector is being regulated in the US. And now we understand that banks in the US have to get their license in each state. So that's why not all banks in the United States is available in all states unless they actually have license in every state. It's unlike Indonesia that you get one state for the whole nation. So that's the difference that we actually learn, which makes a lot of difference because then it started from the regulation. We also was set up with the public sector regulators, such as in New York. We had a meeting with New York State Department of Financial Services, who regulate financial services, including banks. So New York State is one of the one who give license to the banks if they want to run their business in New York. So that so we understand more about how it works, how financial industry works in the U.S. And we also being set up to meet the Security Exchange Commission, or SEC, who runs New York Stock Exchange. It's very interesting discussion that we had because they also learn from us about how Indonesia financial, especially digital financial sector and financial industry grow and being utilized and help other industry to grow because of this digitalization. So that's one thing that we had a very discussion, and we also meet Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in Washington D.C. So CFPB is the government bureau for financial consumer protection. So they protect financial consumers in the U.S. So all complaints about fraud, about misinformation, and anything that has something to do with financial services will be addressed to CFPB. That's where we learn more about how they run and regulate to protect their consumers. Something that I think we need to think more and work more so that our Indonesian customers will be protected, and especially in the financial sector, so that people believe and trust our services. And we also, besides public sector and financial sector, we also meet several associations. For example, like global blockchain business, global business coalition, where we learn about what they do in the U.S. and other countries in terms of educate and also educate people about blockchain. We are following that up now. We are working with them and try to align on this on blockchain and also digital asset. Another association that we met, another organization that we met, which is also interesting, is DeFi Education Fund, or Decentralized Finance Education Fund. So this is one thing that probably in Indonesia is still new, DeFi, but looking at digital asset and blockchain phenomena, DeFi definitely is going to be another issues or another topics that we need to look at and learn more. So our meeting with DeFi Educational Fund actually make us think more about how to educate consumers, educate people in Indonesia about digital asset. So a lot of things that we learn, and I think a lot of things also knowledge that we share to our counterpart in the US. And well, fast forward 6 to 8 months after, we are still in contact with some of them, and definitely for the time being, we will create some program together so that this visit and this learning program is can be useful for both parties, from the US part and also from the Indonesian part. So this program is very useful for us, and also I hope it is also useful for our counterpart. I'm very happy. We are very happy, and we are very pleased to be in that program. And we are hoping that this program will actually continue and more people to join the program so that we can have better understanding. Because sometimes we don't understand enough, so that we should learn from those who are actually doing the work, and we are becoming more open mind and see what's good that we can actually adopt in Indonesia, so that we can move forward faster. Thank you for having me, and I apologize for not being with you, in the same space. But if you have any questions, you want to learn more in more details, please feel free to contact me, to contact my colleagues in AFTEC who also had the same experience with me in the US. Thank you, and have a nice discussion.
So that was the message of Krisma Al-Bajar from Asosiasi Fintech Indonesia. And very interesting talk about the IVLP program at the embassy and her experience there. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our second panel for the evening. To join me up on the stage, we have Dr. Dewa Ayu Laxmiadi Janapriyati, Director for Gender Mainstreaming in the Economy at the Kementerian Pemberdayaan Perempuan dan Perlindungan Anak, the Ministry for Women's Empowerment and Children Protection. Dr. Laxmi, please join me up on the stage. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And then, of course, we also have Ibu Novita Bakia from Otoritas Jasa Keuangan. Thank you. Please join me up on the stage. Ibu Novita, before joining the Financial Services Authority, also worked internationally, welcome, including for the World Bank in Washington, D.C. So thank you both for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having us.
I'm hoping that on this
you.
session we can talk a little bit more about potential solutions to some of the issues we identified in the first panel session. But first, I'd like to hear a little bit about the lessons that you have all learned from your experience, including working with women in many different sectors. So, Dr. Laxmi, first, from your experience working with the ministry, with women in many different sectors, and from your experience previously working for the provincial government in Bali, what are some of the unique challenges that women face in achieving their career goals if you compare it to men, in your opinion?
Yeah, thank you, Joshua. Yes, as we know, the partial culture is still strong in Indonesia. Okay, previously I'm working in Bali Government Tourism Office in Bali Province as a head of marketing division. Yeah, so I want to develop my career, okay? But there is some border, yeah, in our province. So I try to achieve and increasing our position, but always fail. I don't know, and then I never give up. Try to apply and then to bidding this position in ministry. So I'm here now. Yeah, yeah. As we know, that's a gender equality issue in Indonesia is still strong. Okay, because our culture, patriarchy, and even my education, it's linear in tourism. But the leader, our leader, previous leader in Bali, still strong and strict for that. So I don't want to stop and standing. So I have to what we call to turn my mind, and I have to jump this gap. So I go to Jakarta and then try to apply and bidding for this position. That's it.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
And for Bu Novita, I'd like to hear from your experience as well, especially because I know you have experience working abroad in a very internationally diverse institution, the World Bank. I'm hoping that you can share with our audience any differences or similarities across different cultures and countries that you've worked in or worked with people from. How would you compare the experience of women or the attitudes towards women in the workplace in the United States, for example, versus Indonesia?
Thank you. It's a good question. I will have to be objective about this. I worked in and lived in the U.S. and worked in an international organization for many years, over a decade. So I know very closely how the work culture and the attitude towards women. So I find, in terms of career, I find that the international organization and also U.S. American society, they give high regard to gender equality. In terms of filling the position, even at the highest managerial level, they also consistent about that. And as you know, we have Ibu Sri Mulyani, sitting as an MD at the World Bank and also at the IMF. There's Christina Georgieva is MD, and before that, Christine Lagarde. All the way to the top, we have female leaders. And for Indonesia, I think we have, in terms of numbers of employees, we have almost equal numbers, and perhaps in some institutions we have more women representation, like at BCA, BCA. But I think at least in my organization, I think also applies to other institutions in Indonesia. As you climb higher on the ladder, I think the number decreases for women in a leadership position. And for OJK, I think we have about less than 20%. Although we have female leaders, at two of them sitting at the Board of Commissioners of OJK, but at the high managerial positions, we only have less than 20%. And why is that? I think it's probably has something to do with like women have to make choices. Like when they have families, then they were offered a position or they were to apply for a position, they have this consideration in mind, like whether they can do it, whether they can juggle all those responsibilities, and that sometimes cause them, to turn down or maybe not to apply for the position. And although comparing those two countries that I work at, I think there's still, when I came back, I find that, when I came back and with family, I find that we are still at a better position, at an advantage position, because we have support system. Like as an Indonesian, of course, we have a support system. In the U.S., we didn't have that luxury of having someone, a domestic helper, provided that you can afford it, or a family as your support system. Whereas in the U.S., you have to manage everything by yourself. But in terms of attitude towards women with family, I think the flexible working arrangement in an international organization, or perhaps in the U.S. companies as well, they are more understanding when you have to leave at certain time, because a lot of people leave at the same time, like to pick up their children from daycare or whatever other responsibilities they have to tend to. So it's quite different from here, where when you still have work to do, you have to finish before you can go home, or other things that require you to stay. So I think those are the differences that I picked up on, and I think for Indonesia, I think you can still have a little bit more flexibility, where you can focus your time on other things such as your career.
I see. So it sounds to me like what you're saying is maybe one lesson that Indonesian companies could learn from American companies, or Indonesian institutions could learn from American institutions, is about that flexible work schedule that might be very helpful to help with the work-life balance problem that we've been talking about. And maybe on the flip side, American society can maybe learn from Indonesian society about the importance of having a social support system, right? Like family to help.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, it would be better for both of the countries,
Yes.
I guess.
Right. So, Dr. Laxmi, I want to ask both of you actually about the initiatives that your agencies are doing to help empower women. Well, let's start with Dr. Laxmi. Can you describe some of the initiatives or programs that your ministry is doing right now to help support women, and particularly in the financial services sector, but even more broadly in other industries and sectors too?
Yes, socializing. Yeah, socializing, and with our ministry level, and then collaborate with the private sector, and to push to socializing how important the gender equality and mainstream. At least we starting from our ministry and the other ministry, and then push and penetrate to the people through the what we call course, yeah, and then we work together to give the woman and help the woman to take a course what they want, like in maybe small scale industry like catering, snacking, and the others, okay? And then we call UMKM, okay, to empower the woman. And at least we want to stop violence and increasing the income for that. At least when the woman there have and protect their rights, and then empower her, at least the income become increasing, and then contribute for their family. That's it. Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
Yep.
I'd like to hear from Bu Novita about this topic too. Maybe some of the programs that OJK is involved in right now to help support women, or to expand financial inclusion, improve financial inclusion for women and financial literacy among women, which we saw from our survey and our first panel is very important. So tell us a little bit about what OJK is working on.
Okay, very good. I think first I would like to note that the women's financial literacy rate in 2022 of survey at the national level, it was higher than men's, which was 50%, and the men's literacy rate was 49%. However, the financial inclusion rate was higher in men at 86%, and whereas at 83% in women's. So I think there were multiple reasons for that. One of them is accessibility for women, for example, accessing finance. They were found they do not have insufficient credit history, for example. Also, lack of identification documents, and also this is also because when some of them are employed in informal sector, they could not have all of that. Also, a lower connectivity in terms of, for example, cell phones, where women who run household have less percentage of cell phones. Only 36% compares to men who run household, about 61%. This prevents women from accessing digital financial services or receiving digital financial literacy, which it becomes more and more important these days. And also, there's still some bias in gender bias in accessing or applying for credits for financial institutions. So, in this regard, OJK has several programs or initiatives on increasing or improving financial literacy and inclusion for women. One of them is, some of them are, one is increasing financial literacy with family and life cycle approach, which is a good program that we divide in stages of life cycle. Since the first stage is for young women, teaching them to save and as they start from early age, and then as they reach the second stage, they have to do more investing, and when they reach late age, then they will know about their rights, consumer protections and whatnot. And second, we also have some financial planning books for brides-to-be. And we also work with regional governments, accelerating finance teams in eastern of Indonesia. That's programs targeted for women, and also in Eastern Java. I would like also to add that there's an innovation that we promote, that OJK promotes, to try to overcome the challenge of getting access for credit for women. It's called alternative credit scoring, or also innovative credit scoring, which will help women who have insufficient credit history. They would help financial institution make decisions in granting their financing through different sources. So, for example, through utility bills, to e-commerce platforms, and giving information about their financial responsibility that somehow would help financial institutions to make their decision whether these women are credit worthy. So from that on, if then they can graduate and then receiving even bigger loan for their to promote their, for example, if they want to become entrepreneurs, or to help them with their family planning or financial planning situation. So those are the programs that I think I mentioned today.
Well, thank you both so much for sharing those programs with us that really deal with this issue at, like you said, at every stage of life, from education for young people all the way through supporting women business owners, and to further develop their businesses and provide access for credit to expand their businesses. It's very interesting and has a lot of promise. I do want to leave lots of time for questions again from the audience for our second panel, but I have one more question that I'd like each of you to answer, and this is a very important one for me. Like I said before, I'm very pleased to see so many young men out here in the audience. I'm also a man. And so my question is about what can men be doing to better support our women colleagues in the office, especially to help develop women leaders, and perhaps most importantly, avoid being part of the problem. So, please, Dr. Laxmi first.
Yes, I'm working in governments, okay? So the coordination is a must, because in my ministry, that's I can execution, yeah, I can execution, but I do coordination with, for example, for the issue related on education, we coordinate with the Ministry of Research, Technology, Education and Culture, okay? At least free for 12 years for a study, okay? And then when the issue for the financial, I collaborate with OJK, also fintech also. And when related with the health, I coordination with Ministry of Health, and then etc. Because coordination is a must for our ministry. Yes.
Coordination and making sure that your
Yes.
ministry has a voice
Yes.
in decision
Yes.
making. Excellent.
Exactly.
Thank you. Bu Novita, advice for the young men?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very considerate question. And I'm happy to answer that. So first of all, I think be our good ally. So also, if we work closely together, you know, we respect together, we respect each other, hear each other's concerns, and you know, also when we set goals, make sure that it's achievable for all, both women and men, and also I think let women lead some projects or programs, keep them at the center of some initiatives, and give credits when credits are due. And also, when you reach a certain managerial position, be our mentor. So in a way, you can help reward the women colleagues to, you know, and help them advance their career, perhaps. That would be our wish.
Thank you very much. All right, now it's time for the question and answer portion from the audience. So we'll start here in the room, and I see a hand up right away, right here.
Thank you so much to both of you, Ibu Novita and Bu Laksmi. My name is Hassan. I'm still a college student right now, majoring in business administrations. So I have two questions. My first question is that we know that the unemployment rate in Indonesia, especially from the college student, is like 8%. And I know both of you have a long journey throughout your career as a woman and man as well. What do you think, like, the skills or the capability that human in Indonesia, especially the college students, should have after they're graduating? And what will be your concern about this unemployment rate? And my second question is that what is the significant actions that government do to reducing this unemployment, especially in women literacy, and also the unemployment rates for the college students? Thank you.
So who would like to take this question about the unemployment rate and what the government can be doing to help address it?
Okay, me first, okay. Thank you for your questions. In our ministry right now, we arrange the roadmap for care economic, okay, because there are a lot of work in Indonesia, it's unpaid, okay. We find, yeah, that's the care economic, it's the future economic, how the woman can empower, because they have a double burden, yeah, double burden, and with the domestic task, and how to develop their career. We need care, economic care work, yeah, to support the woman in career. That's important things. So now we arrange for that and push for our what we call wakil rakyat in DPR, yeah, to legalize soon the rancangan undang-undang kesejahteraan ibu anak. There's for mother and children, okay, to protect for our generation, because to give the best for the baby and for the cuti and for paid, yeah, for what we call the income for the worker, we concern for that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I will answer the career portion. So in finance, I think there's still a lot of opportunity if you are interested in finance. Some positions cannot be filled because we don't have enough talents. I can name some like actuaries, if you like, math and numbers. Actuaries, we still lack of actuaries. The gap is huge, and also information technology. My advice to you is that don't shy away from technology, given the era that we live on now, and a lot of things are requiring technology background. So I think it's very, very important to master technology, and also learn master a field, but always keep in mind to try to keep up with technology. So with AI, and we don't know what will happen, so make sure that you incorporate that in planning your career. So make sure you know the areas that would still be on demand, not next year or 2 years from now, but at least 5 to 10 years from now. So I think that's the way to go. Thank you for the question.
Let's go for more questions from the audience. Who would like to ask the next question? Don't be shy. All right, while everyone is gathering their thoughts and thinking about their question, I can read one that came in through Instagram. Okay, so this is a question which we've already talked about a little bit, but maybe you would like to expand upon it. It says, what initiatives or programs are being implemented to encourage more women to pursue careers in finance? And how effective have they been in addressing gender imbalance? So that second part of the question is very interesting and not something we've talked about yet. How do we measure success of the programs that your ministry and agency are implementing? Who would like to take
the key is coordination, I think. Yeah, there's a corporation to help overcome together through the inclusion program helped by the, for example, like with our partner, with you also, embassy, education through something like scholarship or other learning programs. So that's I always mention in every meeting, yeah, to hold the hand together to educate, to push, to empower the woman, because this is important, because we know the population, it's 50% woman, yeah, and then how to protect them, and when they develop themselves through UMKM, small medium enterprise, and how to protect from illegal loan, yeah, and at least to invest, to help their to investment to start their entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Very good, thank you. And Bu Novita,
Yeah.
how do we measure success? And have the programs that you're undertaking already shown some progress?
Yeah, in terms of literacy, we see the number it has gone up, and also in inclusion. But we measured the every few years, and it now the inclusion stands at 85%, and also I think I mentioned the numbers before, and also in digital literacy is not as high, but it keeps increasing. So we could measure in that area. But I think for empowerment, for getting young, aspiring people, especially women, to get interested in the field. I think it takes more than just a government program. It takes more than just government agencies program. All stakeholders, I think it's good if we have collaboration, public sector and with the private sector, including universities. So for example, for companies or government agencies, we can, I think, provide some opportunities for scholarships or internships in the companies for these young people, so they get a head start in the industry, and they could see whether, they would contribute to the field, and whether their skill set matches with financial sector. And also, they can even start as early as when they're in university or vocational training institutions. So the universities could also help, preparing those students, also female students, getting ahead in the financial sector, career in financial sector. And I think beyond that, we would also still need to scale up our program at the national level, even at the global level, involving the international organizations such as UN or the World Bank. We have also some government programs that could be, good also to be replicated, for example, or replicate from other countries' success stories in Indonesia. So I think, with our young population, and including 50% of them are women, we need, a lot of good programs to help them, to empower them and make sure they're good at their career, and also financial sector is a good career to have them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And related to that, you mentioned governments working together with the private sector, with international institutions like the World Bank.
Asian Development Bank.
I also have a question here about the role of educational institutions. And education has come up a lot this evening, right? In our survey, that was one of the factors that so many people identified as being important. We talked about it on this panel and in the previous panel. So this question came in through Twitter, and it says, what role can educational institutions play in encouraging more young women to pursue degrees and careers in finance? And how can they help address existing gender stereotypes? So, very big question there about how colleges and universities and schools can help encourage young women to pursue careers in the financial sector and address gender stereotypes along the way. Dr. Laxmi?
Yes, I think now in this era, we must aware, because the technology, the finance, digital, it's a must right now. So I, and our colleague in ministry, never ending to, to coordinate with our partner, our friend, our college in OJK, Asian Development Bank, Women's World Banking, to encourage the people, the women, please, now it's turn on you now to know more about the finance, economic, because we never, it's now dependent, 100% depend on economic right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is our program, and then to cut the gap, the from men and women in Indonesia, because when we divide Indonesia from three sectors, and west side, center side, and east side, in that is so gap, because the gap is very large, because in West Indonesia, everything is running better, yeah, Ibu, comparison than with the center of Indonesia, also in the East Indonesia. So we always and never stop to coordination with the at this instructor with the government in and province, yeah, each province in Indonesia to push the woman for.
So
for
it's
yeah.
not just a gender gap, but also a
Yes.
geographical
Yes.
gap
Yeah.
that we have to be concerned about
Yeah.
as well. Bu Novita, how about the role of educational institutions? What can they be doing to help encourage young women to pursue careers in finance?
Yes, I think universities or higher education institutions, I think I mentioned earlier, they could provide a program, I think perhaps working together with public sector, government institutions, or private sector, the associations, industrial associations or corporates to let them know, what the career in finance would look like and what we need, what the financial sector needs. So they will know to focus their career and take courses that are relevant for the financial sector. And also, I think mastering technology also is a plus for financial sector. And that is also, you can start early on that. You can start even before university. You can also take courses. There's a lot of courses outside the university, online. So make sure you are, technology savvy. And I think once you are in the financial sector, you will see that it's not as small as you think. It's very wide. Like, for example, not only traditional, and there's also fintech and all this innovation, like where I'm working at. It's not only just one small pool of field. It's now getting larger with the technology combined, and a lot of aspects to be considered, sustainability, and there's a lot of places for you from different fields. So, but if you master the financial field and combine with technology, I think you are good to go. And to address the question on gender, sorry, the second question was about
Gender stereotypes.
Gender stereotype. I think I don't see that too much lately. I think this young generation is now more, it's better than my time, right, Ibu? So I think perhaps in some areas, unfortunately, we still see that. But in finance, like I mentioned, it's okay, and you have good start for both women and men. But getting advanced in your career is a different story. Women need to be confident. Yeah. They need to know that they have the ability, the same as men, and they just need to be consistent and be diligent to achieve what they're trying to pursue.
Wonderful advice to end on. Thank you both so much. That brings us to the end of our second panel for this evening. Please, everyone, silakan membantu saya.
Yes.
Berterima kasih.
Joshua.
Please.
Okay, for the young people, please discover yourself, your potential. Okay, practice and improve your skill, and develop through to be entrepreneur, or you choose career for the next. Please, but don't forget, in Indonesia, we believe that's one of, destiny. That's my message. Okay.
And if you are interested in developing your skills, I again encourage you all to stick around after this event to talk with the Education USA advisors who will be here. Maybe you can ask them how you can learn about opportunities to come to the US to study dan menjadi actuary seperti disarankan oleh Bu Navita tadi. I don't know what an actuary does, but we need more of them. Thank you all, everyone, so much for coming to our event this evening. And thank you to our guests. I would ask, as we finish off, just for all of our speakers to come join me up on the stage so we can do a photo and I can give you your parting gift.
All right, thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. We hope that everyone gained a lot of inspirations, insight, and can bring more positive impact after this event. We would also like to thank our speakers and also moderators for today's empowering discussion. And previously, we had a trivia quiz, and the question was, is it true or false that based on an IMF study, the presence of women in leadership positions in financial institutions is not associated with greater financial resilience? And the answer is false. The presence of women in leadership positions, as well as a higher share of women on bank boards, is associated with greater financial resilience. And shout out goes to Nabila Sheila from YouTube for answering the questions correctly. And for those of you who are interested to know more and attending more events of At America and to become At America member, kindly visit our website at www.atamerica.or.id. Also, don't forget to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube channel at AT America. And lastly, thank you so much for joining us today. I am Farah Shiba, and see you at the next At America event. Goodbye. All right, now we would like to invite our speakers and moderator as well to take pictures